Most of my time in Japan was spent in Tokyo. The city is big, bright and full of culture. It's impossible to cover everything I liked about this huge capital, but in this video I'm going to talk about as much as I can. Tokyo is a centre for fashion, business, culture, and it's the most populated city in the world, attracting millions of tourists every year. The name Tokyo means Eastern Capital. Originally called Edo, it was renamed in 1868 when Emperor Meiji moved his residence here from Kyoto, the former capital. With over 35 million residents, it always feels busy. And usually I'm not a big fan of busy cities like London or New York. I always find them quite stressful and too many people, and yeah, I don't like it that much. But for some reason I didn't feel this in Tokyo. I don't know if it's to do with the fact that people there are so kind, or everyone moves at a fast enough pace that you feel like you can get where you need to go without being caught in traffic. One of the most popular central hubs in Tokyo is Shinjuku. Shinjuku has so much to offer. It's got shopping, nightlife, arcades, everything that you could ask for. And as well as that, it's got the busiest train station in the world, and my god, it is busy. As well as all of this, in Shinjuku you'll also find the robot restaurant. Now, the robot restaurant is fantastic. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But I definitely recommend going, despite the fact it can be quite pricey, but you can sometimes find some really good discounts online. The first place you'll go when entering the robot restaurant is into the bar area. In the bar area you can watch some pre-show entertainment. It's really good fun and a really great environment. It's really cool just to look around. After this you'll be escorted to the stage area, and it's basically a big long runway, audience on both sides, and you watch the floor show, which is it's just crazy. Here's a few clips just so you get an idea of what it's like. Now, there are so many things to do in Shinjuku, I can't really talk about them all, but the last thing that I want to mention is the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. Now, you can go here and get a fantastic view of the city. I think it's the best view of the city from the observation deck, and it's completely free, unlike Tokyo Tower or the Sky Tree. The view from here is just brilliant, and if I wasn't so scared of heights, I'm sure I would have stayed there a lot longer than I did. Another central hub worth mentioning is Shibuya. Shibuya has arguably one of the most iconic views in Tokyo, and that's of the Scramble Crossing. The Shibuya Scramble Crossing is said to be the busiest intersection in the world. You can get a great view of it from Starbucks, but I recommend viewing it from Mag's Park viewing spot, which is free entry, and it's just in the Magnet shopping complex across the road from Starbucks. Around a 30-minute walk from Shibuya is Harajuku, famous for its fashion and the extremely crowded Takeshita Street. It's a really fun place to visit for an hour or two if you can put up with all the crowds. Here you can visit the Kawaii Monster Cafe. I had a great time in this place. The drinks there are quite expensive, the food is really weird, but it's good fun just to go in for maybe an hour and watch the show, because the show is only about 10 minutes long, but it's really good fun. Not too far from Takeshita Street you can find Meiji Jingu. Meiji Jingu is a shrine dedicated to the spirit of Emperor Meiji and his companion, the Empress Shokan. To get here, you'll enter under a large torii gate into a long forest walkway. The original Meiji Jingu finished construction in 1920, but it was destroyed during the Second World War and they had to rebuild it. Another casualty of World War II which had to be rebuilt was Sensō-ji in Asakusa. This is Tokyo's oldest temple, dedicated to Kannon Bosatsu. Legend says that two fishermen found a statue of the Kannon in the Sumida River, and the original temple was built around it more than 1300 years ago. Sensō-ji is a must-see, and the area surrounding it is full of great shops, gardens, and sites of famous Tokyo landmarks like the Sky Tree and the Asahi headquarters building. One thing that I knew I needed to try whilst I was in Japan was sumo. By try I don't mean participate, I mean go and spectate. And I'm really glad I did. It was a really interesting day out. The arena that we went to was in Ryogoku, and it was a really beautiful building. Really big, there were loads of stalls for food and drink and some entertainment on as well. Watching the sumo matches was really interesting. I didn't know too much about sumo before I went, but it's not too hard to get your head around. At the start of the day, there aren't that many spectators. For the intermediate division, not that many people turn up. A lot of people wait until it gets to the senior division. And once the senior divisions start, that's when it gets really, really busy. Now if you head to Tokyo Bay and go over the Rainbow Bridge, that will bring you to ODAIBA. ODAIBA is great for shopping and entertainment. It's just a really beautiful place to visit. The Venus Fort shopping mall is an absolute must-see. Even if you don't plan on any shopping, the interior is gorgeous and there's a really interesting car museum. Also worth a visit is Diver City shopping mall. Famous for the huge Gundam statue outside, this is where I would always go for lunch or dinner. They have loads of restaurants to choose from and I never once had a bad meal or spent too much money. In my opinion, the most impressive thing that ODAIBA has to offer right now is the TeamLab Borderless exhibition at the Mori Digital Art Museum. This is a huge maze of immersive interactive digital art that constantly changes as you make your way through. This is an experience that you have to book in advance, and quite far in advance if you want to be sure to get a ticket. I recommend setting aside a good few hours for this experience. I spent maybe 4 to 5 hours there, but I would have happily stayed much longer. So that's all my favourite parts of Tokyo. Obviously there is so much more about the city that I loved and I just don't have time to really talk about, but it is such an amazing city. One of my favourite cities in the world. After living there for almost a year, I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface of seeing what's on offer. Thank you for watching my video on Tokyo. If you want to see more about my time in Japan, please hit subscribe because there's plenty more videos to come.